Welcome to the Unspoken Edge. This is a leadership podcast for those ready to turn tension into traction. It's designed for founders, executives, and people first leaders. And in each episode, we'll name what's often avoided: subtle dynamics, misaligned expectations, and quiet disconnections that shape how we work. We'll go beneath the surface to explore what's not being said, revealing the real levers of culture, clarity, and sustainable leadership. So, whether you're leading a team or guiding transformation, the Unspoken Edge will help you listen better. It'll help you lead deeper, and it'll help you build the kind of legacy that lasts. This podcast is built around a powerful question. And I thought, since I value authenticity and integrity, it would be good for me to begin by answering that question myself. So, the question that my interviewees come on and share about is, what is one truth you've had to name internally that changed how you show up externally in leadership, in relationships, or in impact? And for me, this year, that truth is wrestling with the reality that I am home in myself. By home, I mean a sense of peace and comfort and wholeness that I can access in solitude and stillness. For so much of my life, I've latched onto people, roles, outcomes to feel secure. My work now is to find that security within me in this present moment. And I'm noticing the shift. Internally, I'm more able to sit with difficult emotions. And I'm reconnecting with parts of myself that I've abandoned. Externally, I'm navigating hard situations with more steadiness. I'm showing up differently for the people I love and taking paths I never knew were possible. When I'm secure in myself, I can see people and situations more clearly because I'm no longer scanning them for my safety. I am home in myself. And that's why I created this space to collect stories of how we navigate these unspoken dynamics and what changes when we're brave enough to do so. But why does the unspoken have to remain unspoken for so long? Here's where a tool called Johari's window is helpful. The Johari window was developed in 1955 by American psychologists Joseph Luff and Harrington Ingham. They designed the tool to improve self-awareness and interpersonal relationships. Sometimes an old tool is just what you need. And it breaks self-awareness, this Johari's window breaks self-awareness into 4 parts. First, there's the window pane that's open, and that's what is known to us and what's known to others. It's what we see about ourselves and what others see about us. The next pane is a blind spot, and that blind spot is what others can see about us, but we can't see about ourselves. Then there's another pane, and that pane is a hidden pane. It's what we know about ourselves, but we choose not to share with others. And the fourth and final pane is the unknown. That's what's beneath the surface. We don't see it. Other people don't see us. It's way beneath the surface. Right? And there are reasons why things remained unspoken in each of these different panes, each of these different parts of Johari's window. In the blind spot, things say unspoken because of one of 3 things usually: niceness, lack of courage, or lack of trust. Niceness because we've learned since a young age to manage the emotions of those around us. We don't want to upset anybody. We don't want to anger anybody. We don't want to have anybody have to deal with any difficult emotion. And so we are nice, even though we see something in somebody that it would be really helpful for them to know. Or lack of courage. We just don't have the guts for the 8 seconds of total discomfort to brave the conversation, to bring that blind spot into the open pane. And third, lack of trust. We haven't practiced enough risk ourselves or in relationship with that other person, or we haven't been met with respect maybe from that other person. And so we don't trust that person or the conversation enough to bring that blind spot into the open. I still struggle at times to say what needs to be said to those closest to me because I don't want them to experience difficult feelings or hardship. I know that sometimes when you bring a blind spot into the open pain, there's a lot of work that has to be done. You have to face some things that you have not been wanting to face. So that is the blind spot. What about the hidden? Why would we choose not to share in the hidden when we know something about ourselves, but other people don't know and it might be helpful for them to know? We keep those things hidden because of either shame or fear. Shame or fear. But if we want to live authentic lives where we're showing up as ourselves across the board, we have to be mindful of these hidden things. It's wasted energy to have to shift and shape yourself based on where you are, who you're with. It's a lot more effective and efficient to live as you are in integrity wherever you are. And that requires us to be brave enough to bring to light what is hidden in us. That is how you work through shame itself, is by bringing those hidden things to the light. But even in that open quadrant, the things that people know about us and the things we know about ourselves that are all in the open can still remain unspoken when there's a lack of trust or there isn't space dedicated to feedback. It can simply feel too risky to name things out loud. I always smile inside when I hear someone say that there's a toxic person or a toxic team that needs to be fixed. Generally, that is the result of unspoken dynamics. So, what small steps can help us here? One is simply setting aside time to practice giving and receiving feedback. If you don't have the time, if things are moving so fast, feedback won't happen. Right? Unless you've created trust over time, generally feedback doesn't happen on the fly unless you're practicing it with time set aside. The second small step you could take here is pre-calling difficult conversations. For example, you might say, I know this may hurt to hear, but we committed to being honest with each other. Or you could simply say, this is going to be hard to hear. Depending on who you're talking to or what the relationship is, there are a lot of ways to pre-call that it's going to be difficult. When you pre-call it, it helps somebody get adjusted in their nervous system first, so it doesn't blindside them. To support all this work of really bringing to light the unspoken dynamics, I created a framework, and it's called Signal. It has 5 parts: receptivity, reflection, responsibility, relationship, and regeneration. Each is a path for navigating the unspoken. And in this podcast, you'll hear stories and conversations that bring each of those parts to life. At the heart of the unspoken edge is legacy. Not the far off kind of legacy where we plan what we'll leave behind, but the kind that we live every single day. Who we are right now creates the impact that ripples outward. There's only so much of us. We have limited time, energy, and attention. And for me, if even one person walks away from an episode of this podcast listening more deeply to themselves, then this podcast has done its job. That's the legacy I want to leave. So I invite you to join me every other Wednesday as we uncover what's said, what's true, and what becomes possible when we bring it to light. See you on the journey.